Morning everybody, welcome back to Bucks County. Now before we get on with any farming today, there's a few changes that I have made to the game following the release of the Precision Farming DLC last week. So as you probably know, I'm running the original version of the Bucks County map that's available from TNT's Google Drive. I'll put the link in the description down below just in case anybody doesn't know where that is, so you can access it. Now this version of the map has been updated for the Precision Farming mod. Including the custom soil types, so I wanted to include it in the game as I think it will add another level of interest for the series. Now the mod hub versions of Bucks County for both PC and console have also been updated, but they're awaiting Giant's approval, so TNT hopes that they'll be released sometime later this week. So if you're hoping to use the Precision Farming mod, it's probably best to hold off for that updated map. Now, in addition to updating the map, TNT has also made a small adjustment to the Precision Farming mod itself, extending the soil sampling range to reduce the number of samples that you have to take, but I'll cover that off in a little bit of detail later on. Now, this will only be available for PC, so sorry for console players. So this slightly amended version of the Precision Farming mod will only be available from TNT's Google Drive for PC. But again, I'll cover off where you can get that a little bit later in the video. Now, some other changes, I've also added Maize Plus and Maize Plus Forage extension mods to the game. I'm not sure why I didn't really do that earlier, to be honest with you. I think I was kind of focused really on covering off how you could buy the 1.75 million kind of dollar farm when you didn't really have the money sort of early on in the series, that I didn't really kind of think to add the Maize Plus mods into the game. But I have done that now, and of course that has changed the feeding for the cows a little bit. Now I can still use the grass and the hay that I cut in the last episode, but I'll need to add clover into the crop rotation, so I'm going to hold off just sort of getting the cows just for a little while until I can get that sorted. The good news is I probably don't need a TMR mixing wagon because we should be able to put the four food groups directly into the feeding trough. Now before I do anything in terms of adding new crops or planting new crops, all that sort of stuff, I do need to get the equipment for the precision farming so that we can take our soil samples and get that sorted out first. Now the one thing that I will do with our crops then is obviously alter things a little bit, and this includes kind of getting some stuff for the chickens as well, because I do want to do those at some point. So I'm going to change things a little bit. I'm going to put clover in field 15, I'm going to put carrots in field 16, I'm going to put soybeans in field 17, I'm going to put maize in field 28. So the carrots and the maize will need a bit of that for chicken feed. So work today, I'm on my way down, heading to the shop. I'm going to pick up the John Deere Gator and the Iceria Scout so we can do the soil sampling. So I'm going to pick that up from the shop now. I'm going to take that up back up to the farm and do our soil sampling. Now that will dictate what we need to do for our fields in terms of lime or fertilising before we kind of do any seeding or planting. I need to buy the RTK station as well and put that on the farm somewhere. And then in addition to the precision farming stuff, I also need to windrow the grass and the hay in the field by the pond and either bale or collect that ready for storage. Right, now the Gator you will, the John Deere Gator you will find in cars. Now if you've had a previous version of this installed and you've got kind of two sitting in the shop, then do make sure that you select the version that's got the 3-point hitch on the back, because you will need that to be able to pick up the Iceria Scout. So before you kind of get it, do make sure you pick the right one. Now I'm only going to lease this because the amount of sampling that we need to do is going to be a lot more limited than you might think. So we won't need to keep it very long. Now the Iceria Scout you can find in Tools Miscellaneous. If you scroll through your list of items, then this is the extended version that TNT has done, which has kind of got a modified extended range. So again, I'm going to lease that and I'll go and collect those and take them back up to the farm. Now before we go and do our soil sampling, there's a few kind of specifics that I should probably cover off. Now, my understanding is that any map that needs to work with this Precision Farming DLC kind of has to have some updates to the soil types. So TNT has obviously done that, and that's the version that I've kind of now got installed. But he has said that it's important that you update the map first before you kind of then start using the Precision Farming DLC, and certainly before you start taking any soil samples. If you do it the other way round, if you've already taken soil samples and then you update the map, there could be some kind of issues with that, particularly with versions that might have additional crop types. If you've already taken soil samples and then you change the map, then that he thinks that will definitely cause some issues and some problems. So install the new version of the map first, and then have the Precision Farming mod kind of installed, and then do your sampling afterwards. Now the change that TNT made specifically to the Precision Farming mod itself was just extending the sampling range. Now, some of you may know that range is currently set at 25 metres. Now, TNT has changed that to 4,000 metres, which basically means we only need to take one single sample to cover the whole map. So all I need to do is drive into one of my fields, take one sample, send that off for analysis, and that's me done. Now that's why I only kind of bother to lease the Gator and the Osseria Scout, because I don't really have to do an awful lot. Now, if there's some of you out there that might think, oh, that's a kind of a bit of a cheat, and part of the whole thing was going around and taking soil samples. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But when TNT was testing in field 17, he had to take 50 samples to cover the whole field. So bearing in mind that we got field 16, which is a similar sort of size, field 15 and field 28 to do, chances are you probably would have had to take around about 140, 150 samples in order to cover all of your land. Now, I'm kind of guessing as well that after about taking sort of 10 to 20, the novelty of taking these samples probably would wear off. So I think this is kind of a big advantage. Now, if you don't want to use it, if you'd rather go off there and start sampling all over the place, then no problem. You can use the Precision Farming version that's available in the mod hub. But this one is available. It does make things a lot simpler and a lot quicker, and of course a lot more cost effective, because you haven't got to spend $100 on every single sample. So that will kind of make a bit of a difference to you as well. A couple of other things. It's suggested that you do the sampling kind of after harvest and before you start kind of planting and seeding your next crops. And now there was a suggestion as well that you might want to kind of put manure or slurry down and cultivate that in before you kind of start planting and seeding as well. Now on this map that might be a little bit difficult if you're not up and running with your cows and you don't have access to slurry and manure. You might have to go off and get a manure kind of buy point and temporarily install that if you want to start spreading sort of manure before you're doing any drilling or anything. So that's one thing to think about. There is, I think Missy B does a fairly cheap kind of manure buy point for only $2,500, something like that. So that is kind of fairly easy option if that's something that you want to do. Right, we'll get on and take some samples. Right, now I said take some samples, I mean take our sample, our one and only sample. So I've left the help menu up just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So first things first, I just need to unfold the sampling unit. Then I need to make sure that we drop it down to ground level. And then I will press B to take... Oh, I need to start up the engine. I thought I might need to do that. I need to take the actual sample itself. You can see my kind of sample there, just in the first little section there. And then I just press Y and send that off to the laboratory for analysis. Now that will probably take, I don't know, a minute or so, 2 minutes. It's only one single sample. So in fact, actually, it's already come up. So $100 for the soil sample, and that's kind of it. So I need to lift the unit up, pack it away again. Get rid of that, and I'll just go and park the Gator up very quickly, and then we'll have a little look on the map to see kind of what's happened. Okay, right. So if I go to the main menu, if you've seen some of the mod kind of previews, then you would have noticed, obviously, you get this extra icon that's up here. So as you can see, this is our kind of block of land that's in the pale blue, and we've now got all of our soil types. So within this kind of section up here that's next to the globe, the world map, we have got a number of little things that we can toggle through. So as you can see, we've got loamy sand, or 4 different soil types: loamy sand, sandy loam, and silty clay. So the soil types that we've got on our block of land, which is fields 15, 16, 17 and 28, we've got a little bit of loamy sand just up the top corner here and coming over the top of sort of field 17. Most of it is loam, kind of in this grey brown colour. Then we've got some sandy loam just at the bottom and a tiny bit of silty clay, which is kind of next to the pond. So that would kind of make sense, really. And then field 28, as you can see, is a little bit of sandy loam and a little bit of loam. So they are our soil types. Now, if I toggle over to see our pH levels, now we've obviously done a bit of work on these fields over the last kind of few episodes and things like that, so I would expect the pH values to be kind of okay and reasonable, and as you can see, sort of most of them are probably hovering between the sort of 5.75 and probably kind of 6.25, 6.5 in terms of pH level, so they're fairly kind of decent. And then if we look at the fertilising, now of course we've harvested all of our crops, so as you would kind of expect, the fertiliser, the nitrogen levels on the fields would have dropped quite a bit, so they are definitely going to need some fertilising, which we can do, as I mentioned beforehand. We can either kind of look at putting some manure or slurry down and cultivating that in before we then go and drill our new crops, or we can kind of wait until we've seeded our crops, and it does then suggest and recommends that you wait for the first level of growth, or in the first level of growth you then fertilise kind of after that. So that's the state of play of our fields, having done our soil samples. And as you can see, the kind of whole map is in desperate need of some fertilisation and some nitrogen, really. But it gives you a good idea of kind of where we are. Now, if I click off there, you can see by kind of identifying that block of land in the pale blue. So this is kind of everything that we own. The economic analysis appears. Now, the one thing that I have kind of noticed with this map, and that some of you I'm sure will be familiar with, is that when you buy the main cattle farm, you get fields 15, 16, 17 and 28 as one kind of complete block. Now, the only downside at the moment, and I have mentioned this to TNT on his Discord page, is that when you come to do the economic analysis, it actually does it across that whole block of land, so all 4 fields in one go. So it doesn't separate it out by individual fields, unfortunately. If you then go and buy another field on the map, you will be able to see the economic analysis for that particular field, but because these are grouped together, it does give you the analysis across that complete group of fields. So that's one thing to kind of bear in mind. So what I'm going to do now is I am probably going to go and get that bunker, that manure bunker from Missy B, and I'm going to sort of have a go at putting some manure down on these fields and seeing what impact that has in terms of the actual nitrogen level. Then I'll look at doing the planting and the seeding and drilling, and then we'll kind of put fertiliser down over there, and we'll see where we are in terms of our fertilisation kind of levels. And so that's going to take me a bit of time, because obviously it's sort of 3 tasks that we need to do, but that would kind of be my plan. Now, I was zoomed in kind of on our block of land, actually, but just having a look at the full map, it's quite interesting to see the spread of soil types across the whole of Bucks County. And interesting, you can kind of see where the silty clay is, kind of follows the river route down here, sort of between fields 47 and 48 and down through 51, 52. You can see the kind of river running here down across the sort of southwest corner of the map. And then also where we've got a bit of a body of water around by the pond, we've kind of also got some of that sandy loam and silty clay as well. So that's the kind of overall view of the map, and just you can see that by taking that one single sample, we have now analysed the whole of the map rather than just a small specific area. So certainly a very easy thing to do. I think you could probably end up spending a whole day taking soil samples, so it's kind of nice to be able to sort of do that in sort of one fell swoop and get it done and get it out of the way. Now, before I do go off and do any of the work, just a very quick look at the regular map. As you can see, in the soil composition kind of section, the elements that you would normally see in terms of liming and fertiliser now say C precision farming. So what you might ordinarily expect is seeing the two shades of blue, or that kind of pale limey green for the lime colour on the fields is now kind of missing or gone. So you don't see that anymore. You can see that our fields have been cultivated, and we've got no crops growing at the moment, so that's that. Now, the other thing that I do need to do is I do need to go and buy that RTK station. Now, that is in the shop in buildings under miscellaneous. So I need to scroll over and find that through. Those are the bunkers that I mentioned, the manure buy point, and there's a sell point as well. So only $2,500, as you can see. So you could install that on your farm if you want to start doing some manure spreading before you kind of start drilling and planting your crops. It's not very expensive, only $10 a day. Obviously, you'll have to pay for the manure itself, but that would be a good option. Doesn't suggest that you go and spray fertiliser or put kind of spread a solid fertiliser. So manure or slurry are kind of your only two options really before you start planting your crops. So let me see. So here are the two RTK base stations. There's one that's kind of a bit more of a shed. One of this sort of little brick unit here. Now this does improve AI worker efficiency if you kind of buy these and put one of these on your farm. So I'm definitely going to do that. And I need to find somewhere kind of convenient to put it. Now most of our kind of arable fields are off on sort of this side really. So I'm wondering, I might be able to kind of just drop it in there. I want to put it out of the way really, so it's kind of not in the way of anything. So I might just maybe tuck it in there. There we go. Right, so that's pretty much everything that I need to do, apart from perhaps getting this manure bunker. So I'm going to go and sort that out, and then we'll start doing some field work. Right, I've bought this manure spreader, so I'm going to take this back up to the farm. I've already purchased and placed the manure buy point as well, so I'll show you where I've put that. I've stuck it sort of just in between the trees out the way by the pond. So I'll show you where that is, and then I'm going to go up to either field 16 or maybe 15, and we'll get on with doing a bit of manure spreading, and then we'll see what impact that has on the fertiliser state of the field in the precision farming mod. So I'll see you back up at the farm. Right, so here we are back up at the farm next to the pond, and you can see I've put the manure bunker just sort of tucked it in the trees here by the pond, sort of, so the track is still useful to get to the pond itself. So this is also going to be useful because I think I mentioned in the last episode that for the top of the grass field I had planned, and my plan is that we'll put some greenhouses in there possibly, and also some vineyards because they sell a lot of wine up here in Bucks County, and the manure is obviously going to be very useful for those as well, because you need to supply manure and water for greenhouses or for the vineyards and stuff like that as well. So it's going to have a good use for the future, not only for them but obviously for the precision farming as well. So we're just coming up to 20 to 10 in the morning. Megan has been collecting the grass and the hay from the grass field, so we've been putting that into the silo. Some of the grass is going to go for silage, so we'll probably bale that or put it in the bunker, and that will give us most things that we'll need for the cows except the clover, which we're going to grow in field 15. Right, so I'm going to fill up with manure. And then I'm going to go out either to field 15 or 16, and we'll start applying this manure, and we'll have a look at the precision farming map and see what sort of impact that's going to have on the fertilising state. Right, we're up at field 15. Now, as you may remember, in the last episode we started using course play, so I'm going to see if we can get a course set up for here. So I need to be in the kind of fertilising section and do course generation. So field 15, current vehicle position is fine, starting direction automatic, there's no islands in the field to go round, there's only a single tool, the 12 metre width is correct, I'm going to do 2 headland passes clockwise. That's fine. I'm going to start the headland passes smooth. I've put the headland overlap to 10% just to make sure that when we go around the corners it hopefully does cover everything. And then I will generate field course. Okay, so there we go. Then hopefully what I can do is drive course, and we should go off nice and neatly around the actual course itself, and there you can see the actual course that's been done. Quite a lot of short work on the land stuff itself, but hopefully that will all kind of work out okay. As you can see, sometimes it misses a little bit on the corners, but generally speaking, it tends to be pretty good. Now I have got automatic kind of buying for the helper in here, so you can see down the bottom there the manure's not reducing, because you do get through manure pretty quickly, so we'd be going backwards and forwards sort of filling up. So we'll see how that gets on, and then we'll have a look at the precision farming map shortly, just to see what impact that's had on the fertilising state of the field itself. Now, as you can see, we're looking at the kind of nitrogen state on the fields in the precision farming kind of view, and you can see as the tractor is kind of working its way around the headland that we are kind of having some impact and changing the nitrogen state in the field. So if I just toggle off that and toggle back on, there we go. You can see kind of around the outside of the field, the perimeter and the headland, the state is kind of changing from red to sort of either orange or red to the sort of yellow, and in some cases kind of a bit of a light green colour. Now that is also kind of based on the soil types as well. So it seems to be having a bigger effect, a better effect where we had that loam rather than the loamy kind of sand. So the fertilizer seems to be having a better effect on the loam from that perspective. But we'll get this field finished, see how we get on, and then we're going to go over and to do field 16 as well. So we'll see how everything works out.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful. You and me, we meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Right, so we have now spread manure on both fields 15 and 16, and as you can see, that's obviously had an impact on it in terms of the nitrogen levels. So previously both of those fields were very dark orange or red, very much like the surrounding fields that you can see. So now we've kind of got some sort of orange areas that are maybe sort of 40 or 60 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare, going up to kind of a light green of about 120. Now, if we look at the vehicle in the field itself, you can see on the map here that we're kind of sat on a kind of yellow blotch of land, which I'm guessing would be about 100 kilograms per hectare then. So if we look at the vehicle where it's situated, in your help menu, if you've pressed F1 on your keyboard, you've got this section at the bottom regarding the nitrogen application, which at the moment obviously is for manure. So it's saying current level is 100 kilos per hectare. Our target is 80 kilograms per hectare, or our target is 180 kilograms in total. So we need to plus 80 kilograms for this particular spot on the field. Now, if I move to another section of the field, you will gradually see that amend and change. So if I just drive down to the bottom, hopefully that will start to drop a little bit. So there it's saying that it only needs to apply another 60 kilograms up to 160 kilos per hectare. And here our target, or back there, it was obviously quite different as well. So it will adapt and change depending on soil type and what level of nitrogen is needed to be able to support your crop to give you the best yield. And it obviously gives you the field type down the bottom as well. So at the moment it's saying sandy loam. If we go back to the map, and you can obviously see kind of those bands that go across the field do kind of relate to the bands of soil type that we've got as well. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. Right, so what I am interested in seeing is that when we start drilling and seeding, our Vedastad drill that we've got does apply fertilizer at the same time, or we can have it apply fertilizer at the same time. So I'm interested to see whether that then is also going to make a difference. It should do, you would hope it would, and whether that will negate the need for me to then either spray liquid fertilizer or spread a solid fertilizer after I've done any drilling. So kind of that will be the next phase. But before I get on with planting and drilling, I'm going to go and spread manure on fields 17 and 28. Right, I've done field 28 now. We're in field 17. I've set course play up to do this field as well. So we're just starting on the headland. Megan has finished up doing the grass, so we've put hay and grass into the barn, and then we've put a bit into the bunker siler as well for grass silage. So that'll give us sort of 3/4 of what we'll need for the cows. We'll also need that clover at some point as well. So things are starting to progress. Now, I think once we've finished off this field, we'll obviously start drilling. It'll be interesting then to see the impact of seeding and putting fertiliser down on the fields at the same time, and whether that will then also need us to apply either some liquid or solid fertiliser afterwards. So that's it for today's video. I hope you found it interesting and informative. If you have, I'd be pleased to sort of, for those of you that might be trying the precision farming at the moment, I'd be interested to get your feedback and your comments to see how things are. But if you haven't already had the opportunity to do so, then do download TNT's updated map. I do believe that the updated version has now been approved by Giants on the Mod Hub as well, so that should all be ready to go. If you go to his Google Drive, I'll put a little description or link in the description down below. When you go on his Google Drive, you will see this version of Bucks County Dynamic Mud that's in there that you can download. That will have the updated soil types, and you will also see his version, his amended version of the precision farming mod as well. So download both of those, install them into your mod file, and then you'll be good to go. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed everything. Stay safe wherever you are, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.